Libra, welcome back to Steampunk Psyche, where we talk about life, love, relationships, and everything in between by way of the tarot. If you're brand new to the channel or just cross-watching, I'm JT. Do keep in mind this is just a general reading, okay? So sometimes the major and the minor arcana line up with this, and sometimes they don't. Don't hate the reader. I'm just trying to give you as many explanations of the cards that I can, okay? And do keep in mind that I also place haiku poems right before your reading starts, okay? All right, I'll give you the down low. We'll shuffle up and we'll see what wants to shake loose for this general reading for Libra. Libra, I hope you're doing well. I hope that this reading brings peace, alignment. I hope that it is confirming for you. All right, let's talk about your current energy, your crossing challenge. Let's talk about the foundation, recent past, possibilities, the near future, the self, the environment, hopes, fears, wishes, or worries, and the outcome and the direction. All right, Libra, I have your 3 poems ready at Haiku Corner, and we'll talk about this reading when I get back, okay? All right, Libra, we open up your reading with the 9 of Pentacles. Somebody's in their glow up moment. I know a lot of times the tarot readers will say you're in your glow up, but it doesn't have to necessarily mean like I am on top of the world. What I'm talking about is just you've noticed some things about yourself. You're really starting to stay in this high feminine nature. Now, I use those terms interchangeably. This could apply to a male, okay? Um, what I'm getting at is though that you're seeing yourself differently, maybe for the first time in a long time, okay? And what is happening is this push pull retreat. For this reading, it could be talking about a soulmate connection, maybe somebody returning, somebody that you're, just really charged up about. Maybe somebody from the past. Anyway, I'm going to give you the download. We'll talk about it. But what I am saying is that there is definitely somebody who is feeling your glow up. Okay, so this is all about. I don't know. It's kind of like the glow, that's coming from choosing yourself. A lot of you may have really put yourself out there for a lot of people for way too long, right? And so you're realizing this, and it's. I feel like somebody's underestimating you. There's this 9 of Swords. We're going to talk about that in your crossing challenge, but it's I feel like there may very well be a masculine energy here. Somebody who in the recent past or behind you in that past story, whatever, they're watching you again. Okay, they're checking out your social media. They're trying to find out, what's going on in your life. Okay, the masculine here is probably the one who acted a little busy, right? You know what I'm saying? They're at your they're at your beck and call when you don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? They're on your socials at 2 a.m. in the morning checking out things. They want to know who you're talking to, who you're with, who you like. This does have a feminine energy here as well, okay? Maybe the feminine energy here kept somebody waiting, you know? And I feel like maybe they might be mirroring that pace, okay? So if you are the masculine watching, like I said, this is that same kind of mirroring type of energy, push, pull, retreat, that type of thing, okay? This could also talk about finances. We do have the coin, right? And the 9 of Pentacles is definitely a some kind of an unexpected financial, bump or something that's going to land early this year or something like that. For some of you, it's like a unexpected raise, or I don't know, just it's got that I don't know, I'm dressing differently, right? I'm more intentional. I know who I am, that kind of energy. Someone from your past, maybe sees that new photo. I don't know, maybe they feel like a punch of regret. Okay. It's just kind of what I'm picking up on. I don't know, this is like getting more compliments from strangers. This is, I don't know, I'm not going to tolerate any more of the half effort connections here. Okay. But I'm seeing, this is you seeing yourself clearly, and so maybe someone who once didn't is feeling this intensity. I say that because again, we got another nine. All right. Two nines. A lot of you could be seeing synchronicities around this card or around this time. 919, it's a brand new beginning. It's a brand new start. That's why I feel like something is about to shift here. Okay. Probably, I would say probably by the next gibbous moon, something like that. Um, the Nine of Swords. Okay. Take this with a grain of glitter, Libra. This is all about your mind being way louder than what the truth is. Okay. You're kind of like replaying old patterns, you know, um, and I feel like it doesn't match the reality that you're in now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, maybe you're overthinking like a text that took, way too long to show itself. Okay. Or, maybe that masculine pulled back, perhaps there was some conversation, or perhaps you guys were, starting to get close or something, but they, as soon as the intensity rose, it was like, I pulled back. You probably felt that. Okay. And I feel like if this is the feminine and that look, that's that masculine who's pulled back. Okay. They're sleepless nights. It's, afraid of choosing wrong again, or afraid of coming forward. This is that kind of energy, scared that the person returning might hurt somebody again, or worried about your success. Maybe that might intimidate someone that you love. For some of you, it's just losing sleep over some kind of a decision that you haven't made yet. You know what I mean? But it does have the energy of I don't want to be too much. For some of you, it's carrying guilt. That type of energy. All right, but we're talking about, symbolically speaking, this is the dreams about locked doors. Okay. And what that kind of symbolizes is like, I don't know, afraid the past might repeat, but I feel like the lock has definitely changed here. Okay. We're going to talk about this. We got this hanged man energy here. Um, you're not stuck. This is all about repositioning your life here. You know what I'm saying? This is about, I don't know, this year, someone is forcing a behavioral change here. Okay. And it's all about clarity. Okay. This is a pausing, to communicate, to observe instead of like reacting. It could have been about somebody's mixed signals, right? Somebody's texting patterns, or something, where their behaviors is starting to make sense to you. This is a deliberate pullback. You know what I mean? For some of you, it could talk about like a third party situation. Maybe maybe you see for what it truly was, right? So this has got a little bit of that detachment for some kind of an outcome or something. I don't know, maybe you realize you were rejected, or this person, they were unprepared. This is all about, I feel like this is all about you trying to maybe fix people who don't fix themselves, and you're realizing this. You see what I'm saying? So we do have definitely a spirit animal connected with this card. For some of you, you could resonate with the owl. This is all about truths that are gonna surface here. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about this recent past. We got this Queen of Swords. Now, I'm going to say this with care. Okay, this is not about fear. I feel like maybe you cut somebody off emotionally. Okay, even if you didn't block them, and I feel like they felt it. That's what I mean with that Nine of Swords energy. You start off with this glow up, blow up, right? But then there's somebody in the background here in your crossing challenge that's feeling it intensely. Okay, they're in regret. They're in this suffering kind of a mood here now. I feel like you may have stopped initiating conversations. Maybe you just stopped explaining your worth, and this could be family related. something about when we got the Four of Wands, we got the Six of Cups. We're going to talk about it, but maybe that might have been an issue. A third party definitely may have been a situation as well for some of you. But I feel like, someone realized a little too late, that you were the one being serious. You know what I mean? And so if you're, so if you're the feminine, that masculine energy definitely felt the silence or whatever like a slap. We did have that hanged man position. So if you pulled back your energy from this person, it hit them pretty hard. If you're the masculine watching this, it's like, I don't know, maybe the uh that feminine energy realized she'd pushed too far. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's got a little bit of confrontation, someone's inconsistencies, but maybe you walked away from that situationship, either one, masculine or feminine. But I don't know. It could mean, that there's an ending to some kind of a karmic loop or whatever. But this is, I feel like this is like that moment where you reclaim boundaries. This is all about your dignity. Okay. For some of you, it could be like a memory or something resurfaced. You know what I mean? To remind you, about your own standards. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the possibilities. We've got this Page of Pentacles. This is all about it's about a new offer here, a romantic offer, financial, or maybe even both. Okay, something is starting to form here. Okay, in this possibilities, this looks like someone wants to invest in you, and it has properness in it. You know what I'm saying? Could be a younger person involved in this situation. It doesn't have to be, but I'm just saying, the page has that newness in it, right? So this could look like a message maybe that starts small. Um, I don't know, but it could mean everything, right? Whether that is that message that, like, if you're side hustling and you get an offer from somebody that's going to help boost your income, or that new job offer, or that relationship, whatever it is, that is something that starts small. So it may have a little bit of a slow burn here, but this could be also talking about like that, that masculine. If you're the feminine, that masculine energy maybe is hey, I'm going to draw up this text about 12 different times before I send it, right? It has to be right. It has to be perfect. And if you're the masculine watching it, it could be like that feminine energy, I don't know, stalking your page, before reaching out, right? So while they all have that same kind of new job or side income opportunity, I still feel like there may be like a younger, or maybe a useful type person showing interest here. It doesn't have to be the case, but I kind of get an idea about that. But anyway, this is all about starting over with sincerity. Maybe the person who had fumbled you, right? And, they're just trying to prove themselves to you. This could be anything from, like I said, that relationship, unexpected money, or like a refund or something like that. But, anyway, like I said, I feel like this is going to be that, somebody wanting to see you in person. This needs the Midas touch. This needs the personal touch here in this card. Okay. So anyway, I feel like the universe is definitely nudging you towards some kind of a brand new beginning here, right? Uh, and we're talking about a time frame around 3 to 6 weeks. Now that could have been 3 to 6 weeks ago, or 3 to 6 weeks coming up, from now. So just take what fits. We're going to look at the near future. Future's looking bright. I gotta wear shades. I love that song. The sun, listen, this is about that person choosing you openly. Okay, there's no hiding here. There's no mixed signals, no confusion. This is all about that masculine energy that's, I don't know, finally going to express those feelings. This is about that feminine energy that initiates, her vulnerability, right? I had a hard time getting that out of my mouth. Her vulnerability, maybe they initiate that first to you. So if you're the masculine, it could be that date that turns into something more, or the breakthrough conversation. I don't know. This has got everything. Like I said, we did have the pentacles in there, right? So that financial win, possibly, right? That boosts your confidence. It's got supportive kind of an energy. The sun does talk about, while it does talk about like creative projects or things like that, but this is about feeling seen, deeply, fully. That, maybe that, I don't know, maybe some family member finally reaches out again and supports your very next move. Maybe some of you have been waiting on that. You know what I mean? But this is no longer doubting any of your intuition. Okay, the Sun card is definitely something that's ending beautifully, so something better can begin. Okay, All right, we're going to talk about the self here. We've got this Five of Swords. Once again, you guys, take it with a grain of glitter. Might rip a Band-Aid off of an old bruise here, but I'm saying I feel like you assume someone's motives might be a little selfish here, okay? We're going to talk about it because your following card is that Ten of Wands. But I feel like this is more like you're expecting betrayal, even when there may be none present. You know what I mean? So this is all about replaying old arguments, in your head. This is about the fear of being played again. I don't know. Maybe some of you are just testing people just to get that reaction. It's got over analyzing. What was their tone like? That was just some shitty timing, right? But all of this is about protecting yourself. And so you expect maybe people to leave, right? And so you're afraid of being wrong about someone. It's got that kind of energy. But I don't know. Maybe you're scared of choosing someone who doesn't choose you back. But this is all about. I feel like your intuition is trying to like separate fear, from the truth here. We do have the swords again, so we are talking about communication signs, any of the air signs. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You could have that. You could be dealing with that, somebody in your timeline like that. But just like I said, I feel like this is a deja vu moment. There's things taking place here that are just reminding you of something. Okay. Now let's look at this environment. This is where that Ten of Wands comes in. Like I said, it's challenging your boundaries. It's putting things up. I'm going to unpack this for you. It's someone around you is overwhelmed. Okay, maybe with work, emotions, guilt. And I feel like this may be affecting how they're showing up here. Okay. So if you're the feminine looking at this, the masculine energy is kind of like drowning, in responsibilities. And if you're the masculine, the feminine energy here is carrying some emotional labor. And I feel like, like I said from the very beginning, maybe this feminine is just, in this glow up stage here, right? Crossing challenge. And you're feeling that too. Um, and so she's done with the carrying the emotional labor, right? So um, maybe this person wants to reach out to you, but they feel, unworthy, right? Whether that's the masculine or feminine here, but it could also look like a person from your past, maybe a little ashamed of how they acted. I say that because we've got this Six of Cups we're going to talk about, okay? But I feel like someone's ending kind of a draining situation, all right? A third party that's, that third party I feel like maybe no longer a factor here, and really kind of boils down to like, someone's just exhausted from pretending, hey, I don't care, right? And you'd think, how would that apply? So I don't know. It's just, we get to those stages in our head where it's like, I'm tired of playing this game, right? So it's like maybe someone's afraid to burden you with what with something, a family member that needs support, or I don't know, like a coworker or boss, maybe under pressure, so they don't want to burden you, and so it's got that exhaustion from something like pretending or something, you know what I mean? But I feel like someone's just protecting your heart, okay, and maybe yours. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the hopes, fears, wishes, and worries. We got the Four of Wands. This is all about stability, but there's still that underlying, but you fear it won't last, right? You want the celebration, but there's like you fear that disappointment. So when I said before earlier, it's like those questions those questions come out, like all of these things are resurfacing for you, in that Queen of Swords energy there. And so I feel like things are about to be said. Things are, the repeating old patterns, you want that reunion that's going to stick. You want that partner who shows up consistently. Those were those old patterns. Okay. So this has got, you want that home. For some of you, it's like that moving to a new location, or, just that fresh start. But this is all talking about your emotional safety here. Okay. You want the joy without waiting, for the other shoe to drop here. Okay. And so this is all about commitment energy that's building, even if you don't see it yet. And here's why. Okay. I feel like the moment you stop focusing on this, here you go. The Six of Cups, right? This is, I'm gonna cushion this for you. Someone from your past could be returning, okay, but not in the way you expect. This isn't a karmic loop. Okay. This is about that healed version of some connection here that maybe never got a fair chance, okay? This could be that soulmate returning with sincerity. For some of you, it could look like, if you're the feminine looking at this, it could look like that masculine energy that's apologizing and no more excuses. If you're the masculine watching this, it could be that feminine is, I don't know, that feminine energy admits that she was scared, okay? We are talking about childhood or past life connections or resurfacing here, but we're also talking about a reunion of some type, that feels peaceful, not chaotic. Okay, this is an offering. This is that childhood, memory. This is that message that arrives when you least expect it, or that past love that wants to. I did say there may be a little bit of a slow burn, so it's that past love that wants to rebuild, maybe itself slowly. But this is all about feeling emotionally safe with someone again. Okay, so you're choosing differently, and so do they. Right? This is your outcome and the direction. So someone never forgot you, not for a single moment here. You know what I mean? Libra, look, you begin the year with that Nine of Pentacles glow, right? Independent, magnetic, that's got the self-assurance. Someone who once took you for granted maybe feels the shift immediately, right? You know what I'm saying? That's where we saw that in that Nine of Swords, So I think the challenge is in your mind, not the reality, whether this is masculine or for the feminine. I'm just saying your old fears are trying to convince you that, that history might repeat itself. But when we saw that Hanged Man, I think that it showed you everything with a brand new clarity, okay? And so your Queen of Swords of your past proves that I think you cut off what had to go, okay? And so when you're ending this with that, that Six of Cups, I feel like a soulmate returning, or it's not definitely not going to be repeating the past, but healing. This is your emotional clarity. It's all about that financial growth. And I feel like for some of you, it's definitely that love that's going to feel safe again. So Libra, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, would you give it a thumbs up? It would sure help the channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscription button, okay? And make sure you turn on your notifications. Anyway, I'm going to leave last week's video right here. Check it out. Maybe the energies work for you if you're cross-watching or something. Anyway, I love you. I respect you so very much, especially if you are, subscribers to the channel. I just want to say much love, Libra. All right. Anyway, I hope I get to see you again on some next readings, okay? All right. Bye-bye.